I'm back. Sorry.
No, okay. All right. It says the meeting is okay. Got it.
Got it.
Yes. It is now streaming live. So great. All right. So I'm just going to go on my page really quick to make sure that everyone can see us and share in a couple of groups so we can get this show on the road, ladies.
Sure.
Dr. Jerisa Berry, I'm right here. I have one of my doctor friends. She's texting me. She's like, I don't see you. We're on right now, Dr. Berry. So just tune on in, share it. All right. Okay, I'm sharing a couple of groups, ladies, to get some more people. And I know it was kind of like an impromptu flyer, but you know what? It's all good because you know what?
It's all good. I just posted on Instagram our story, so hopefully,
good.
We'll pick that up.
You will catch it. You would catch it later if you don't catch it now, but you're definitely gonna catch this. All right. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the People of Power Show. I am your host and creator, Kitty London, and every week I sit down with movers and shakers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, some celebs, but basically people who are doing amazing things. And I just want to shout out to these lovely, beautiful women. And we are in the month of Black Business Month. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but let's get it in.
Yeah,
let's get
August.
it in. Let's celebrate, right? Black Girl Magic, Black Business Month. We doing all that. And what we are talking about today, and this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart and should be near and dear to every woman's heart, and even girl, your man's heart, because you know what we are going to talk about. But JJ's tonight. I love to say that word. I always love to, it's one of those words that you can say that you feel like you're getting away with something. So I would ask every lady who has a JJ to hit, click, like the share, whatever you want to do, because this is about you. So before we get into all that goodness of the Hot Pockets talk today, I want to introduce the lovely ladies who are making our Hot Pockets even better, right? With Kushae. Did I say it right? Is it Kushae?
Yeah,
you did.
Okay. All right. So first we're going to start off with you, Kimba. If you could just please, give us an introduction of who you are before you became this serial entrepreneur of this wonderful brand. I always like a backstory, right? I think that just helps people, especially entrepreneurs that are looking at this later to say, you know what, it might not be this product, but it could be something that I want to do. So I want to, let's keep it real and the transparency of how you got here. So
absolutely.
All right.
Love it. So listen, hey, Facebook fam. Hey, Kitty. Welcome to tonight's show. You guys are going to get into it with us. So we are the ladies of Kushae. And as I like to say, we are the queens of hygiene. Okay. So I'm Kimba Williams, AKA Kimba the Natural Diva. And I received this moniker or this, AKA name based on the fact that I was in the pharmaceutical industry for over 15 years and tall, almost 6 feet tall. So I'm a bit of a diva. I do command a room, darling, when I walk in. But even though I was in the pharmaceutical world, I knew that I didn't want to be in the land of sickness. I wanted to be on the proactive wellness side. And so I started detoxing my whole life, cloth diapering my kid, making my own baby food, all while holding down a 9-to-5. And when I met this lovely woman on the screen, Dr. Barb, we decided to do something even more than just beyond our own selves and our own families, but to hopefully change the world one Kushae at a time. So that's who I am. And we are headquartered in West Palm Beach, baby. So that's where I live.
Home team.
West Palm.
And we're going to get into it, but I just want to do that sneak plug. So you're headquartered in West Palm Beach, but your brand ambassador is in the ATL?
No, Houston.
Houston. Okay, Houston. Miss Latoya Luckett. Okay, yes. Destiny's Child. Okay, so we'll get into it. I just had to throw that quick plug out there.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Very
Dr. Barb. You're up next. Welcome.
And so I'm Dr. Barb. I am a board certified OBGYN. I've been in practice for 20 years now. I just celebrated my 20th anniversary, graduating from my residency program. So I've been in a number of different positions, private practice, academics, but I am also a mom of three girls, and also a breast cancer survivor. And that kind of ties into Kushae, because I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 38. So very young. I was the first person in my family to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Not the last, however. And so when I got that diagnosis, it kind of threw me for a loop because I didn't have it in my family. It was just out of nowhere. So that began a quest in myself and trying to figure out what I was doing that may have contributed to that. And so just like Kimba the Natural Diva did, I set about kind of detoxifying my life and really looking at the things that I was putting in my body, the things that I was putting on my body. Everything from BPAs in your plastic bottles to, nonstick. And so what I discovered was that, we are exposed to a number of carcinogens or cancer causing agents in just everywhere we turn. I mean, it's almost a miracle that you don't get cancer with all the things that are there in our environment and our lifestyles that contribute towards that diagnosis of cancer, any cancer. And so I began on that quest, and Kimba and I just happened to meet on a girls' trip.
Yeah.
We had never met before. What was that, about 6 years ago now, Kimba?
6 years ago.
Yeah. So we met on a cruise, on a girls' trip, and we were just, kind of shooting the breeze. And she kind of said, do you have anything natural, you being an OBGYN, that you recommend for your patients? And that just struck up a conversation. And we were just we realized that we both had a passion for the natural lifestyle. And so at that girls trip, we kind of said, hey, we should get together and do something, along those along that, like the whole natural lifestyle, and some ideas that she had and some ideas that I had. And lo and behold, a year later, we had not only formed our own corporation, we had formulated our core product line.
Mm-hmm.
And just a difference of a year, we came up with Kushae and BK Naturals, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. And you left out a good part. We went back on the same cruise and
Yes.
launched it. So we're like, you know what? A year later, we're going to do this again, but this time we'll tell the ladies about what we're trying to do to help them. And
Yes.
So we launched
I love
Kushae
it. And
on
here we are.
international waters. So ta-da! And the rest,
Listen.
they say, is Kushae.
I got some questions. Okay. So first, Dr. Ball, let me just ask you, because since we're on the topic, especially medical. Now, you go into, any store that sells feminine products. I mean, we have a whole aisle based on that area, right? And it still amazes me how we still have so many questions on what's good, what to use. And I love that you pointed out the fact that you being a first-time breast cancer patient for your family. A lot of times we say, oh, my mom doesn't have cancer, or my dad, I couldn't have it. And I love that you said that, because we do need to, especially our Black community, we need to go get checkups. We need to not base our whole lifestyle on our parents and what they didn't have and who didn't have it, because I always say that you can be the first. So make sure that you keep that part up. And as far as the medical part is, we will go to, and I say we, and please no one get offended and like, I don't do that, but I'll just say we, because I like to generalize certain things. But we will go and we will cover up stuff, right? We'll, there's odors, we will go and spend all this money on perfume, Victoria's Secrets,
Bath and Body,
right, all that, right? So that's why I wanted to start with you first, because as my doctor on here will always say, get people back to baseline. Okay, let's start with checkups. Like, first of all, how many checkups do you recommend, and when should we go and say, you know what, maybe something is not right down there?
Down there.
Do you have any recommendations for the
people?
people?
In general, most women will need a general checkup by their gynecologist about once a year. But that's, that visit is really a preventative health. That's when we're making sure that you're up to date on your mammogram, that you're up to date on your pap smear, that your medications are in order. So really, if you wait until that annual visit, if you have a specific concern and you try to get it addressed in a 15-minute visit, it's more likely that that doctor might gloss over your specific concern. If you have a specific concern regarding the vagina, regarding odor, regarding whatever the case may be, abnormal bleeding, you really need to make an appointment specifically for that, so that that doctor can address your issue primarily and not kind of lump it in with everything else that we're doing. So I like to tell my patients that, and sometimes I have, extra time to address every single concern. But a lot of times, if you're just getting your routine annual visit, and you have about 5 things that you need addressed, it may not be addressed in the manner that is to your liking or to your satisfaction. So if you have a specific concern, I definitely recommend making a separate appointment just for that. And a lot of times we're also talking about birth control. I mean, there's just so much that we're trying to pack into that routine annual visit that a lot of times, women are a little dissatisfied because we can't address every single thing in a 15-minute slot. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. If nothing's going on and you're just there to just, get your pap smear, get a refill on your birth control, or even just talk about birth control, getting your mammogram appointment set up. Yes, once a year. But if you're having problems in between, don't wait for that yearly visit to come up to address it with your physician.
Sure.
Okay, great. Because I know the pandemic has caused a lot of people to be behind on a lot of exams.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That one in particular, I think that's like almost a dentist. It's not the favorite appointment that we know. We're like, oh, I'm going to gynecologist today, right? With that smile on.
I like it.
Like, it's nobody's favorite thing to do.
It's our favorite now, so of course you like it. It's like, look what I did, doctor. Got it all good now.
Yeah. But yeah, so you should be seen, and you need a clinical breast exam every year. And then depending on your age group, there's different things that we address during that annual visit. But that annual visit is more preventative. Mm-hmm. So that is us trying to prevent bad things from happening, or prevent, really severe diseases from, kind of progressing to the point where it's kind of late. When a lot more damage has been done. So that's really the purpose of the, yearly preventative health exam, is to catch things super early or to prevent things. Mm-hmm. So if you have a specific problem, then really you need to address that separately.
Yeah. And I would say, especially for women who are sexually active, you have no idea. You can't put anything past anybody what may be going on down there. And a lot of, whether it's an STD or a simple infection, could lead to infertility and issues that, affect you long-term down the line. And so it's really important not to ignore when you're feeling off or weird. Get to your doctor. I've never had an OB not be able to get you in, right? So if you say, listen, I'm having an issue or whatever, they'll, they get you in. I've never had an issue where that's been a problem. So that was that.
Yeah, I love it, because it's almost kind of like when you talk about dermatology, right? We want the quick fix, the makeup and the nice stuff, but it's like when you got to get to the root of it. So I love the talk. So both of you ladies admitted that you went natural. So I know that that's a big thing where they say diet, and you hear myths, and I don't know if this is a myth, but they say that the vagina is supposed to have an odor. Now, what kind of odor? That's depending on who you ask. But Kimba, did you see a change when you went natural? Like, did you feel a change in your body when you went natural?
Yeah, absolutely. And going natural is kind of like taking vitamins, right? So it's not something that you see right away. To me, it's a cumulative effect. So it's like, okay, well, you want to go natural and you want to start just eating a whole shit ton of broccoli tomorrow. Like, that's not what this is. What it is a very concerted and very specific option or deliberate, let me say, pathway towards doing something naturally one step at a time. So like, for instance, I would start with my hair products, right? So stop relaxing my hair, natural, I'm locked now. So it's a whole situation, loving being locked, loving being natural. Beautiful. Thank you. But stopped using chemicals on my scalp because there's been a lot of talk around, brain cancers related to women, particularly Black women who are using lye and those particular, those straighteners in their hair. So I stopped doing that. I stopped using shampoos with sulfates and parabens, things that were hormone mimicking. So it's like one thing at a time. Then I started using more natural skincare. So ditching lotions and potions and, opting for shea butters and natural oils, essential oils, things like that. And then, of course, when it came down to the Kushae, and y'all, seriously, we just took the word coochie and made it fancy. Like, don't overthink it.
I love
Okay. But when it
French
came to
word.
the Kushae, that's where I struggled. It was like, there's really nothing that I can replace with what I have today that I feel more comfortable with, because it's looking like it's the same ingredients, just maybe in a different order, right? So you do one step at a time, and it has to be a very deliberate lifestyle change. And so I've started this natural journey. Oh gosh, my oldest son is almost 20 years old. So maybe 19, 20 years ago. And it never stops. I can always do better. Yeah, I still eat, some crazy stuff. I love a sweet baked good, girl. And so, I'm not vegan. I don't ever want to be vegan. Like, shout out to the vegans. You guys have some discipline that I can't muster up. But for me, it's balance, and balance means moderation, which means I can have good days, I can have bad days. But if the good outweighs the bad, then you're good to go. And so that's
I like
really,
that word balance, that pH balance. Got to get
right.
it together.
And and even that, right? And we'll talk about pH balance and what that really means for your Kushae, and how to get pH balance and how to tell you're in pH balance. Like, it's super easy. But balance in everything. This world doesn't exist unless it's sometime in balance, right? There's no night without day. There's no good without bad. There's balance. And that's what life should be all about. But more good than bad, for sure, if you can help it.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you had, well, listen, you got me on the pH balance now. You can tell how to tell.
I done sparked something.
Listen, I'm sure the ladies like, wait a minute, let me because there's so many things out there to tell you. So less, because we want to get into the products too. But I like to do things in layers, right? Because I think it's one thing, ladies, and you'll learn me real quick because I'm very transparent on my show. One thing is to come on the show and sell a product and talk about it, right? But when you really have a love and a passion for it, you have layers to it. Because one thing is, people can buy a product and be like, wait a minute, it didn't work. But we got to get to the root of your problem first, right? And then work your way up to, like the doctor said, that maintenance portion of it. Because listen, you got all this other stuff going on. I could put a nice paint job on, but the engine broke, you're gonna break down anyway, and can't blame the paint job. Right. The engine not working.
You got a pretty Bentley, but it's broken.
Right. So, I'm like, while we're on the JJ News, like, let's go to the baseline first to get, okay, we gotta get our checkup, ladies. Let's just make sure that you okay, get all that good stuff. And then part of that is diet. I know I'm a coffee drinker. I hear people say, coffee, the acidity, I guess that's the pH balance, or drink some, they tell you drink some pineapple juice. I don't know. Is all that true? Like, okay, go ahead, Kimber. You got
it. I'm going to address the wives' tale, and then Dr. Barb, if you don't mind jumping in with what pH balance is as it relates to the vajayjay. So let me start from the holistic root, right? So there's layers to this, right? So let's start with overall life. So first of all, your body needs to be in a more alkaline state. When you are inside your body, in general, the entire body, except for the vagina. So we're going to get back to the vagina. But everything else, your blood and everything, all your organs, prefer to be in an alkaline state, because diseases can't exist or can't thrive in an alkaline state. So that's why people keep talking about, alkaline water. Exactly. You need that pH 8 and above. Absolutely. That's exactly what the high pHs will do. Anything over 8 is a higher pH, and will help your body get into a balance or a pH state that's much more conducive to a healthy state of being. Now, your vagina, on the other hand, is like, baby, we don't do that. Your vagina wants to be acidic. And so it is going to be on the lower end of the pH scale. So it's going to be below 5. So water in your body wants to be, water's 7, so it's neutral. Your body wants to be above 7, and your vagina wants to be below 5. It wants to be acidic. That is where it can do its best kung fu movement and kicking ass with bad bacteria and yeast and all the things. That's where she thrives. That's where she is smelling like she's supposed to smell, not roses. What do you say, Dr. Barb? Not vanilla musk.
You're not supposed to smell like a rose down there, ladies.
Right.
Oh,
It shouldn't be offensive. So we'll help you understand, like,
Supposed to
what
smell like
that
a
means.
rose. Yeah.
It shouldn't be offensive, but you're going to have and it's not even an odor. You'll have a natural fragrance, is what I like to say, because usually odors are offensive. This is not offensive. Your natural fragrance is not offensive. And many people who are attracted to women will find it very, very alluring, right? Very attractive. So, hey, go on, that's your little perfume, girl. But so that's the difference between what pH really means from a body's perspective versus a vagina's perspective. And just to remind you, 0 to 14 is the scale. 7 is in the middle, it's neutral. Above 7 is alkaline or basic. Not that we're basic, darling, but it's alkaline. And that's fruits, vegetables, all the good stuff live above 8. It's alkaline. All the bad stuff, fried foods, grease, sugar, white processed sugars, can help you get into a more acidic state. So your body, that's not good for. And it's really not good for your vagina either, because if your body's not doing good, it can't help regulate what's happening in your vagina. But your vagina, when your body's in a good state, will regulate itself and stay in the acidic state that it needs to be in. So it all works together in tandem. So that's that from the natural diva.
I call you Dr. Kimba.
Yeah.
I understood it.
Listen, that's that passion, you know what I mean? And I know Dr. Barb is a whiz at explaining stuff to people all the time. So she taught me a lot of what I know today. But I'm also, remember, I come from the pharmaceutical world. So breaking things down and making it easy for patients and doctors to understand was what I did for decades. But Dr. Barb is great at helping you understand what happens when the pH balance is off, and what does that look like? What does that mean? And then how to get it back right and get it back tight. So we're going to let Dr. Barb handle that. So I guess the question, Dr. Barb, then is,
what's the question?
Talk about the pH balance. I think you got it. I mean, are you signing?
I think you kind of covered everything.
Yeah. But we'll talk about what happens. So once the pH is out of whack, what are the manifestations? Like, what then happens? What can women experience that is a telltale sign of, oh no, my pH balance? Not that they'll know it's pH, but these common things that happen to women all the time are literally only related to pH. So I wanted to have you talk to them a little bit about that, Dr. Barb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like to start out by, kind of describing the vagina and in a normal state. So your vagina actually is an ecosystem. So when I say ecosystem, I mean there's like inhabitants that live in there, different bacteria, like millions of bacteria. And so you have, the healthy bacteria, which we call Gardnerella. And then that we call lactobacillus. Mm-hmm. And then you have the bad bacteria, which we typically kind of lump in Gardnerella, but there's a few. And then you have yeast, just naturally that occurs in your vagina that just lives there. Everybody's happy. You have the good bacteria, which is the lactobacillus. They're kind of running the show. They're ruling the jail. They're the gang leaders in the jail. So, they're like selling cigarettes and making money and, selling, ding dongs. And just ruling the place. And then you have, the bad bacteria, the Gardnerella, which are there, but they're in smaller amounts, but they're just kind of there. And then you have yeast, also small amounts, the good bacteria is kind of running things. And when the good bacteria, also known as lactobacillus, they produce a chemical called lactic acid. And when they're plentiful and in high numbers, there's lots of lactic acid produced, which creates an acidic environment. And that's the environment in which the vagina thrives in. The vagina does very well. It's healthy. There's not an excessive amount of discharge. You don't have yeast, or you don't have itching, and you don't have an odor. And so that tells us that there's a large amount of the lactobacillus in the vagina, and they're doing their work. And so the pH that generally the vagina does well in is somewhere between 3.8 and like 4.5, right? So in that area, quite acidic. But that tells us the vagina is nice and happy. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes what happens is that good bacteria, for whatever reason, whether it be your diet, whether it be you've been on antibiotics, whether it be you had sex with somebody that maybe introduced some of that bad bacteria, but a number of reasons. Like I always tell patients when they say, I got BV or I got a yeast infection, how did that happen? Or why did it happen? Or what did I do wrong? And I always tell them, you got it just by being a woman. Okay, because every now and then, most women at some point in their lives will get a bacterial vaginosis or a yeast infection. Their body's kind of off. It could be, your sleep patterns, your immune system, whatever the case may be. It sometimes does happen, even if you didn't do anything wrong. But when the lactobacillus is not high in amount and it's not ruling the gel, then the bad bacteria sort of overgrows, and those bacteria don't produce that lactic acid. So then you have a more alkaline environment inside of the vagina, and the bad bacteria kind of proliferates, and it causes things like vaginal discharge, vaginal odor, bacterial vaginosis. Also, yeast can kind of rear its ugly head, and that's when you get a yeast infection. And it kind of crowds out, the good bacteria. So when we say pH is almost like a side effect of a healthy a healthy vagina or an unhealthy vagina. So your pH will tell us what's going on inside of that vagina. And so we want that vagina to be more in the acidic range, because we know that that's where the vagina thrives. That's the environment that the vagina thrives in. So our thrust, when we're, kind of talking about pH balance and how to fix your pH balance, this is just ways that we have that we can kind of go around, what your body is naturally doing.
Exactly. And there are natural ways that Kushae has discovered and created products around managing a little bit of everything down there, including pH imbalance. So there are things that we've created to get your pH back on balance. So we can talk about that too.
Let's talk. Let's get into the Kushae.
Let's get into it.
So listen, because I had to do it in layers. So first we tell you, ladies, get a checkup. Let's start with that. Let's get that thing, get it right.
Let's get the thing
thing back right. Let's get this pH balance back right. Let's check this diet. Let's go. Okay, so now we're good, but we want to stay good and we want to be great. And this is when we go to Kushae.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure Kushae keeps a Kushae on point. All right, now, ladies, let's go.
Oh, can I add one thing? The thing of it is, if your pH, if you have a vaginal discharge with an odor, please do not try to cover it up with perfumes. You have to get to the meat on the bones. So if you have an odor and you're, for a lot of women,
that might have been the problem.
Yeah, it causes embarrassment. It's embarrassing.
Too much meat and bone.
The bones.
We're self-conscious about it. We're hyper aware of it. And so a lot of women, what they try to do is try to hide it by getting perfumes, getting these things that are really not fixing the problem and not addressing the real issue, which is the pH.
Right.
So that's where your pH balance products come into play.
So you heard that, ladies. So if it's something, don't go to Bed Bath & Beyond and try to cover it up.
Vanilla musket.
With flour Summer's Eve, because it's gonna come right back. I mean, literally, right, Doc? I mean, and Kimba, it's gonna come right back.
The issue. You're not addressing the issue.
And you may even exacerbate the problem, because those artificial chemicals, fragrances will actually flare up the bad bacteria even more. So that's why so many women are so dependent on all these perfumes and fragrances, because it's a vicious cycle. And they keep actually adding to the problem and not truly addressing it. So you'll never smell normal because you're kind of jacking it up too. Not that they knew that, but we're here to teach the people, okay? Educate the people. So then let's talk about it. So Kushae actually introduced a product that is very unique. It's called our boric suppositories. Now, the main ingredient is boric acid. Now, for those of you who from the South, I'm from the North, I'm from New York. Dr. Barbara's from New York as well. We're from the Caribbean. A lot of Southern people came back and said, well, isn't boric acid what they used to kill roaches? And I'm like,
Yeah, that's what they use to kill roaches.
you're right.
literally.
I'm like, first of all,
And
thanks
rats,
for telling us
I
you
think.
had the roaches. But anyway, but after that,
Right.
I feel like you were trying to get rid of the problem, which I appreciate you, your mama and your daddy, whoever. But I want to break that down. So there's some confusion around boric acid suppositories that are safe to use for pH balancing in the vagina, and then boric acid, the chemical compound that's used as an insecticide to kill roaches and bugs and whatever else you got in the corners of your house. Now, just think about, I love to break stuff down. Y'all was in chemistry class. Y'all know we got hydrogen and oxygen and carbon. These are the elements, right? We ain't got but like 90 of them. I got to figure out that number. Don't hold me to it. We got like a few. But everything in this whole wide world is made up of a combination of different elements, right? You mix hydrogen and oxygen one way, ta-da, you got water. You do it another way, ta-da, you got like hydrogen dioxide. They're different, same elements. So it's just a mix and match, right? It's a little jigsaw puzzle. Boron is a natural element, and it can create different elements or different chemicals, like either medical grade boric acid, which actually happens naturally in fruit and seawater. We source ours from seawater, which is interesting. And then you can chemically, magically, blah, 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 and then get the chemical, nasty, boric acid that's used in an insecticide. So it's the same concept, where you're taking basic elements and configuring them scientifically, either to be quite safe, or finding them naturally, or to be harmful, right? We do it with bleach and salt. Salt is the compound. You can either eat it or use it to make bleach. Same elements. So that's the difference between this boric, that boric. So hopefully that's helped. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. No, yes.
For sure. So our boric acid, like we said, is sourced from seawater. So it is a natural occurring boric, but we've combined it with not only aloe to make sure that it's a gentle suppository. So it's something that you're inserting into the vagina, but also apple cider vinegar, things that you guys have heard of. And then an amazing ingredient that Dr. Barb was insistent on, which is probiotics. And as you guys might know, probiotics are basically food for the good bacteria. So if you want that lactobacillus, like Dr. Barb talked about, to thrive, it needs something to thrive on. Those probiotics will help it get healthy and get back to a point where it's making the lactic acid that you need to become more pH balanced than you had been. So it'll move you from jacked up and crazy to going back to where your vagina needs to be. And that's the whole point of,
as Dr. Barb said, bring back those gang members, the jail members.
Well, I like, listen.
West side, right?
Selling cigarettes, that was
I watch a lot of prison shows.
I was like, bringing back the good. They screaming west side, not west side, but west side. I mean,
like,
yeah, right.
West side,
I gotta lay off the prison shows.
Either way, you want to get better and you want to get wetter. Okay.
Right. I know. See, you listen, we coming up with so many taglines just on this one show. I'm just saying, y'all better watch this later and just write it down. So that's because I looked on the website and you actually have, quite a few products. So that's one product. So it's the suppository. Do you do it daily? Do you do it weekly? How does that work?
Dr. Barb, you want to break that down for the people?
So it depends on what you're using it for. We actually use boric acid suppositories now to treat bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections. It's actually endorsed by the American College of OBGYN as a primary treatment for bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections. But the dosage is different. So the dosage would be twice a day for about a week. If you're using it just to maintain that pH and get shock that vagina back into the proper pH, then generally we recommend using it twice a week, every week for up to 3 months. For those women who have issues with recurrent BV or recurrent yeast. So and I define that as, if you get bacterial vaginosis more than 3 times in 1 year, then you have a problem. And that's a recurrent problem. And that needs more assistance than just here you go with 7 days of antibiotics. Right. Those women generally, they keep getting it over and over and over and over again. And so sometimes we can see resistance to the typical antibiotics, because back in the day, someone had BV, you wrote them a prescription for antibiotics for 7 days and sent them on their way. However, we've seen in medicine where there's an overuse of antibiotics, an unnecessary use of antibiotics. And what that has created is these bacteria are getting smart so that the typical antibiotics no longer work. And so you have where the typical antibiotic, you give it to someone and they don't see any difference because they've been on so many different antibiotics throughout the course of their lives that their body has grown resistant. And so that's a very real problem in medicine, because there are infections that we're now seeing where none of the antibiotics work. They're called multi-drug resistant. Is a very big problem. So in medicine, we're trying to go away from the overuse of antibiotics. Now, sometimes antibiotics are necessary. If I'm just sniffling, that doesn't mean you need antibiotics. Right. If you have a cold, you don't necessarily need antibiotics, but a lot of patients have, just gotten into the habit of wanting to be on antibiotics even when they don't need it. Well, that's created a problem. And so we now have to deal with this drug resistance. So we're looking for natural ways to do things outside of just antibiotics. And boric acid has been shown to be quite effective to treat both bacterial vaginosis and yeast, and we can use it preventatively.
And I want to just drop something.
Are you able to still do the nasty now with suppositories? Because people gonna ask that in the back of their mind. They're like, wait a minute. So I'm doing these suppositories, but I'm supposed to be, on my honeymoon this weekend.
Hooking up with Bay.
Well, luckily enough, if you're using it for preventative health, it's twice a week. You just have to.
Okay, so in between. Okay.
Right. So in between. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then our formulation is no drip, so you don't get any drippage. It's very well tolerated, no irritation. We don't have any weird dyes in there that can irritate you. So most women put it in and they don't even know it's in, and they don't even see anything really coming out.
Unless you have natural discharge. Now, I also want to just say that for those women, similar to what Dr. Barr mentioned, who may have recurring either BV or yeast infections, there is a problem. It would be nice to understand what the issue is, but just remember that it could be anything, right? Again, it could be literally just having sex with your partner. It could be your own menstrual cycle that's throwing off the acidity in your vagina, like your own blood. So it's like, what can you do? You can't do anything about that, right? You do, if you have a menstrual cycle, you have to bleed. So it is what it is. So don't feel like it's your fault that you're out in these streets and living your best hot girl summer. Like, it's not about that. It's about, if you are, it doesn't matter. It could be a condom. It could be protected sex, unprotected sex, any of those things. Sperm, lubes, condoms, penises, menstrual blood, tampons can all throw off your pH. So unfortunately, like Dr. Barr mentioned, just being a woman and trying to have a good damn time, it could throw off your pH balance. But it's what you know. Then once you know how to do better, or at least correct it and get back to hot girl summer. Or silky, September. So wherever we are in the world.
Right. Well, listen, we're in Florida, so it's always a hot girl summer.
It's always a hot girl summer. So
right, all year round. So you also, I saw some too on the website. You all have, looks like you have like a body wash, right? A wash.
It's the feminine foaming wash. It's our number one.
Okay,
product.
let's get into that. Like, okay,
yes.
So we don't need. Okay, so let's just get a perfect world. So we're in the shower. Right, we have our dial, or we have our swab, or we have our Victoria's Secret, whatever we have. We have that wash. That wash does not need to go to the Kushae. We're going to the foam. So lather the girl up. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the products.
Yes, let's talk about the products. So the feminine foaming wash is our number one product because everybody needs to wash down there. So Dr. Barb will tell you, water only ain't it. Listen, y'all can come for me. We can have this whole conversation. Team water, holla at your girl, because it ain't working out.
I need a little something else, right?
Listen, because we say it all the time. Would you use just water for the rest of your body? And your Kushae is no different. It has skin, it has hair, and it sweats. Hello. So I mean, if you're just using water for your head or for your underarms, cool. But if you're not, then apply that same logic to your Kushae, because it's literally the same thing. It's all connected. Now, I don't know what you're doing. So team water ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna cut it. So you do need a cleanser, but you need one that's not gonna irritate you, that's not gonna be super strong, that's not gonna throw off the pH balance on the external areas of your vagina, right? So remember, we're not putting anything in there except for the boric acid suppositories. Everything else is really for the vulva. So Dr. Barb may have to break down the anatomy so you guys know what the vulva is, but it's right. It's all the outer bits. Okay. If you can see it, that's the vulva. If you can't, that's the vagina. That's the easy 1, 2, 3. But the foaming wash is your basic. You've got to wash every day. Hopefully we're washing every day. You would use your hands, right, to reduce the amount of bacteria that may come from, people call it a washcloth or a rag or a sponge or whatever you're using. Use your hands, foam it up, rub a dub on your Kushae, get in between the lips, you're good to go. And it'll balance the external pH and really kind of reset women and looking for a natural cleanser. Natural ingredients like rose and pomegranate and French green clay and aloe, like yummy, super moisturizing, has coconut in it. And it makes you feel
good.
Yes, and it makes you feel naturally moisturized, not dry and stripped. Like when you wash dishes and it's greasy and then you get the like you can make noise on the plastic bowl. We ain't doing that. We are getting you back to moisture, darling, hydration, feeling like you can, a little car wash. You know what I'm saying? So that's the feminine foaming wash. And again, created by an OBGYN. So, doctor developed, diva approved. I mean, what more are you looking for? Okay, right. So that's the wash. So Dr. Barb, you want to talk about some of the other products?
Yeah, so first I want to start out by saying all of our products contain ingredients that you can find either in your garden or your kitchen. So that was something that we insisted on. We insisted on no artificial fragrances. So all of our products, most of our products are unscented, so no smell, with the exception of the balm, which has a very, very light smell, but it's from essential oils. But all of our products are things that when you look at the ingredient list, you can pronounce. Okay, and we made a concerted effort not to include everyday products, everyday ingredients like parabens, which are in most of, when you talk about the feminine hygiene aisle at CVS or Walmart, when you look at some of the natural products, if you actually read the ingredients, parabens, sulfates are there, glycerin, which is really not good for that area because it feeds yeast. Artificial colors and fragrances, we made it a concerted effort to not include those in our products. We wanted all natural ingredients to go into our products, and we wanted non-toxic ingredients. So across the line, every single product that we have put our name and our professional reputations on, it's all natural. So that's really the main thrust. Like when you're looking at Kushae versus any other brand, you can know that it was created by someone who knows the vagina very well and knows the concerns of women, because basically have had boots to the ground for the past 20 years. And that the second thing is we're insistent on all natural ingredients. So that's what differentiates us from any other product that you can find, is that we're natural, we're, we have the input of, myself, and also we have a whole team. And that's our goal, is to produce a line of products that are all natural, but yet effective and gentle, and not contributing to this epidemic of cancer that we have in our society.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking on your site because I see that you have the deodorant spray. So that's
I happen to have her with me. Let's see.
There you go.
I see right. So that's listen. Is that good for like those hot summer days? You just need a little fresher, because
Let me tell you something. Now,
sweat, Barb, like unless you're 105 pounds.
This was my creation.
That's her product. That is her baby.
I said, Dr. Barb, when we first started creating products, I said, I don't know what else you want to do, but if I don't get a deodorant for just down there, we're going to have to talk to somebody. because I like 50% of women, I'm a sweaty Betty. I could just be having a good old conversation and I'm getting all the moistness between the thighs. Like, why am I sweating for no reason?
And let's keep it real. It happens. Yes.
It happens. Or it's hot ass summer Florida or hot ass Florida, period. And you're standing there talking to someone, you feel the sweat dripping down your leg, and you're like, what's that?
I hope I didn't pee on myself.
Exactly. You're like, is that a bug or is that me sweating? You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
just, there are sweaty Betties out there, and people have been trying to put the baby powder to dry up, put their, their underarm deodorant down there, just the Vaseline. No, and no to all of those things. They're all either petrochemical or something else dangerous that's, again, linked to cancer.
Got a whole class action lawsuit for the baby powder, so we're not even
exactly. And people putting powder all on the breast and all on the Kushae.
That was back in the day. We didn't know no better.
I know we did it, but now we know better. And we also know that you can't always trust large companies who just put things on the shelf and they're cheap and they're whatever. You have no idea of what it can cause. And so that's why we're encouraging people to read ingredients and be cognizant of choosing natural in instances where you can. So anyway, the deodorant
I'm definitely gonna
spray,
put the whole website on here.
Yeah.
Trust me on the video, because I'm looking like the feminine skin balm. Wait a minute. So wait a minute. Let me find out about the skin balm. Is that
He
when
wants to hear about all the products?
Is that when you do a Brazilian wax and you need that protective cover? What is that? Like, what is that, lady?
No, that's different. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick rundown. Okay, we're gonna do like two sentences for each product. Okay, so the feminine wash is your daily cleanser that's gonna keep you fresh all day, feeling moisturized. The deodorant spray. And now the deodorant stick. I ain't playing, baby. I was like, we got to have a spray and a stick. It keeps odors away all day, right? So it's 24/7 odor protection for sweaty Betties who normally sweat down there. Spray is good for people that keep hair. And the stick is good for girls who are bare down there. Okay. So if you wax and you just as smooth as a baby's bottom, go for the stick. If you have a little, trim thing going on and you get little designs in your hair, go for the deodorant spray. Okay, very good. Dr. Barb's one of her favorites is the balm. You want to give her a quick delivery on the balm?
The balm was, well, I kept seeing in my practice women who would get very itchy down there externally. And, they would come in, we're testing for everything. Is it BV? No. Is it yeast? No. Is it this? No. And what I found was that a lot of women who sweat throughout the day, that sweat just sits on your skin all day long, in addition to the oils that your body naturally produces, the skin naturally produces. And then you have the added effect of friction. So as you're walking, right, you're just rubbing, and there's sweat and there's oils. And a lot of women find that towards the end of the day, they get a little itchy. They start doing this dance, right? Because they're a little irritated on the outside. And so the balm, the balm came, which is similar in concept to like diaper rash cream. So basically what the balm does, it really protects the skin. So we recommend using it in the morning after showering and drying off, getting really dry and putting it on. And basically what it does, it forms a protective layer over the skin, protecting it. It also wicks away moisture away from the skin. So for a lot of, or specifically for me, because I was one of those itchy, towards the end of the day, because, I've lived in San Antonio for the past 12 years and it gets hot. We had one summer where we had over 100 days of over 100-degree weather. So it gets really hot. And so if you use it just one time a day, it will protect you for the whole day. And basically it helps to prevent chafing and irritation and that itching. So that's like our heavy duty skin protectant that I recommend for those ladies that do tend to sweat a lot or do have a little extra fluff between the thighs. It works really well. You can also use it for under the bosom, under your breast, because a lot of women get a little sweaty down there and they get itchy and they get a little rash. Also under your fupa. So it works really well under the fupa and also between the thighs. So anywhere that you're going to have that friction, anywhere that, you know, you
Gotta
have
get some of
a
that.
sweat accumulation. Yeah.
You named
That's what
about
you
two
want.
things I had.
We have to go into the
It ain't a
details.
big fupa, it's a little fupa, but still it's a little fupa.
Right, but it's under it's just covering up some stuff. You're like, girl, why don't you lift yourself up and get you some balm? Okay, just go on and get you some balm. So yes.
Listen,
That's
don't talk
our
about
heavy
me, ladies. I'm being real here. And I know it's been an hour. Before I let you go, I just want to have a one quick question. And either no, and by fast, either because we're talking about irritation, and I know a lot of, you know, especially myths. So let's talk about it real quick. And you know, especially with women who are going to buy this nice lather and this balm. Should you be bald down there or hair, you know, lots of hair, no care? I don't know. Is that a personal preference? Does one have more bacteria than the other? Because I want to know. Like,
That's a good question.
No,
should we?
it's
And
really
then how you get rid of the hair properly?
it's
Because I know
really-
people use razors and they get razor bumps. Like, what's going on?
That's a whole situation.
Oh,
We got something for that too.
Yeah, we do have something for that. But I think it's really personal preference and cultural norms. I mean, I think maybe 20 years ago, people weren't really shaving and waxing as much. And I think it's, you know, probably over the last 10, 15 years that women really want to, you know, look like 12-year-olds down there.
That part. But that's cool. Do you?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
You have the vaginal rejuvenation and all kinds of surgeries that have cropped up. But really, it's just if you do want to keep hair, you can keep it very well trimmed. And that's no more dangerous or no more unhygienic than if you're bald down there. It's really just your personal preference.
Okay. And then to get rid of hair to do it properly, I know there's a lot, because I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm be transparent. One time, it was a long time ago, so we can't talk about me now, but a long time ago, I tried some Nair.
We all did, girl. We all did. It's all right.
And Nair don't go down there. That's a whole commercial.
Nair don't go down there. I like that.
Nair don't go anywhere. If you ask me, Nair don't go anywhere. Child, you open the bottle and your nose hairs burn out. I'm just like, this is so strong. Why is this girl? It's okay.
Listen,
Shaving or waxing is the best way to go. And we have products for that as well, because as African American women, you know, our hair is curly. So we shave, and then when the hair starts to grow back, it curls back into the skin. And so that's what causes, you know, those ingrown hairs, which can be quite uncomfortable, painful, and disfiguring, because remember, when our skin is wounded, we hyperpigment as the way we heal. So we are more prone to hyperpigmentation after a pimple or a zit. So so that's the issue that women have, not the shaving itself, but it's actually when the hair starts to grow back.
Right.
So our soothing cream.
Get into it.
Listen, get into it. Let's right. So
Our
listen.
soothing cream is the answer for that.
Right, exactly. And don't forget, we have a product that is also an exfoliating scrub. So a lot of women who wax, the one thing your esthetician will tell you to do is do your home maintenance. And home maintenance for post-waxers includes exfoliating that skin very gently and then using a hydrating cream. So Kushae has an exfoliating scrub and the soothing cream, which is a hydrating cream that's known to prevent and or reduce ingrown hairs. So that 1-2 punch will get your kitty looking pretty. Okay, very good.
Now, I don't know if you've ever been asked this, but I'm going to do it because, you know, I always have to keep it real. So, you know, I know the economy is a little hard for people. People are like, okay, we pick and choose what we want to buy, right? Because that's just the way it is. Gas is high, whatever. But we know that the JJ is something that you definitely need to make sure you maintain, because that can help your gas prices go down low. If you know, I'm just saying, hey. So anyway, so my ladies now who call themselves on a budget, who, you know, we spend what we want to spend on, but I'm not, that's not my business. If you could tell people, say, hey, you know, I might not can buy everything on the website, but can you give me the top 3 products that you tell me I must need? Like, because I'm looking at the exfoliating cream, I'm like, okay, that sounds real. I need that. The soothing cream definitely will sound like it's going to save your life. And definitely the foaming. But then you also have the suppositories and you also have other stuff. So if you have some ladies on a budget right now who are like, listen, ladies, I want to support you, but tell me 3 things that I need so I can put this in my basket and go about my business and come back and buy the other stuff. But what would be your 3? You probably won't say the same thing, but we'll see. What would be your 3, Kimba? Must have.
Right, must have.
Tonight.
So what I would say is everybody will Kushae their own way. So my 3 is going to be different from your 3. And it's based on your lifestyle. So I'm active. You know, we have kits that are already pre-made. So if you're looking for sexual wellness, we got the 3 products that are best for women who are looking for sexual wellness. We have a kit for new moms. So if you're expecting or you are a veteran mama like me and Dr. Barb, we have a kit, 3 products, because on average, you need 3 for your new hygiene routine. Right, and so we've developed a kit for each predominant lifestyle that women tend to have based on the research that we've done, Dr. Barb's experience with her patients, and then just common sales that we've seen for the last 5 or 6 years. And so we've kind of made
veteran mom, I think, right? Because my kids are 19 and up. Like,
oh yeah, but still.
I only have 2, but I'm just saying.
There you 19. Go. So you can either do a veteran mom's kit or maybe sexual wellness, whatever is the predominant factor in your life today, because things change. Like COVID, everybody was off the sexual wellness unless they had a boo because they were like, I'm just chilling by myself. So they was doing whatever they wanted to do. Maybe they was trying to get fit. So they went to, their wellness. They went to the active. Now the summers, the streets are open and people going back to, so it just depends on how you want to Kushae. So I will say that we've tried to make it very easy for you to kind of pick your avatar. Like, I'm a fitness person. These are going to be the 3. But if nothing else, personally and so let me say that, and then I'll say what 3 I have to have in my bag. Have to have the wash. I have to have the deodorant spray or stick. I vacillate between the 2. Love a damn deodorant. Stick or spray will work. And then I'm a bomb girl because them thick thighs don't lie, baby. So, I'm active and I'm getting the rubbing and the thighs are high-fiving, and I tell them to quit talking to one another, but they ain't listening. Not social distancing at all. They broke all the code. They are 6 inches together, not 6 feet apart. You know what I'm saying? So those are the 3 that I cannot live without. So I just flipped the question, but that's how I want to respond. We've made it easy for you, and I'm going to tell you my 3.
All right. Dr. Bob,
I'd like to point out that, for the ladies that are not quite sure what they need, we do have a quiz on our website. So you can log in and take the quiz and, put down your concerns or the things that are most important to you, because like Kimba said, everybody's going to Kushae their own way because we're all different. We're not monolithic. Everybody has, the different things, their schedule, their lifestyles, and the things that are important to them. For instance, if you're someone that has a lot of BV and suffer a lot with BV, you have to get the boric acid.
Right.
I mean, that has to be part of,
your hygiene routine.
Right. So, so everybody's a little bit different. I think everybody would benefit from our wash.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't think of anybody that would not need the wash.
Right.
And then everything else is really just, are you a waxer? Are you a shaver? Are you having lubrication issues because maybe the balm may add a little bit more moisture for you? So everybody's a little bit different, and we sort of did that on purpose because we wanted to address everything.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Everything that I was seeing and that we know about, or that, Kimba experienced for herself, but me, like, I'm seeing women, 20 to 30 patients a day, every day for the past 20 years. So, there's certain themes, right? So certain themes start to, we wanted to address all women's concerns because there was a lack of natural products out there to address those issues. So we kind of wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So you can customize your Kushae.
Right. You can customize it.
Yep.
For what you need, but definitely start out with the wash. The wash, everybody can benefit from.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love Dr. Barb's answer. Take the quiz, because honestly, girl, I be forgetting about the quiz, but the quiz is fantastic.
Yeah, literally put the website on.
Go through the quiz. It's like 10 questions. Really, it takes 2 minutes, and then it'll pump out your recommendations based on what you've said, and it will give you 3, because again, we know that most women need 3 products on average based on their lifestyle. So forget guessing. I'm gonna tell you straight up, take the quiz. Very good. Look at Dr. Barb. Go
So listen, I'm gonna say take the Kushae test to find out which
quiz.
is the best. Okay.
To find out your personalized hygiene routine. And then you can Kushae your own way. Okay.
You know, I like to rhyme, so I was thinking of Tess and Bess, but you know.
So does Kimba. Kimba loves a rhyme.
Listen, I'm a rhyming genius. So anyway, I'm a poet.
I love it.
And it just so happens people are like, oh, you know, when do you use the Kushae? Listen, baby, you use Kushae with any day that rhymes with Kushae. So that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
all the days,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Kushae, like all the days.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to put the website on top of the video. And again, ladies, so I mean, you know, I always deal with lawyers. So I always say closing, and you have closing arguments, but just any final words, you know, before we end. I just want to say thank you all for joining me this evening to give us some Kushae education, because we all need it. And I hope this will not be the last time, because this is a conversation that I think, you know, we could still keep having. We need to know the latest and greatest things about Kushae, because it, you know, hey, but I'm like on my list, but I love the way you can customize it. You know, sexual wellness, we'll see, but I'm definitely gonna take the test.
Listen, whether you into that or not, maybe you get into it.
It's hard out there, girl.
I have more pimp.
That's right. Listen, and you know, sometimes they say, hey, you gotta, you know, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready, right? So,
and that's the thing. It's like a vitamin. Be ready, because when somebody roll up on you, girl, you can't be like, oh no, I ain't got it together, right? Be ready. Stay ready.
Right.
Very good.
And yeah. So we make sure. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the only thing I would say in closing,
any final, and then too, besides, is it anywhere? Because is it just the website right now where we can get the product and
Kushae, big time. We big time. No.
So brag on yourself. I tell people, do not hold back. Do not listen. Do not be humble here.
All right, so
let us know where we can get the products. Okay,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
And then I'll let Dr. Barb kind of give her final thoughts. But so Kushae, first of all, we're gonna spell it for the people just in case you like, well, how you spell it? They Googling it, they can't find it. It's Kushae, Kushae. So Kushae. Okay, because
some babies gonna be named after your product.
Yeah, so
you know that, right? You know that, right?
What happened?
I hope not.
Oh yes, Dr. Bob. I promise you. You're gonna say Kitty said it. Girl, it's gonna be some babies named after your product.
Oh, listen, it's all good. I'm here for it.
Kushae Jenkins. Listen, they gonna name the babies Kushae, because after they got their Kushae or whatever they had Kushae. So
I'm for it. Now we have that is trademark, so you know, go about your business. So you can find us on Kushae.com, Amazon, but we are also in several select markets, including the Florida market and Whole Foods. So we're in the Whole Foods market. You can find us at your nearby Whole Foods. If you don't see Kushae, go to the desk and ask them, because they're probably sold out and I need them to stay on it. So definitely Whole Foods, particularly every Whole Foods here in Florida. We just launched in another sort of Whole Foods like store. They're a competitor called Wegmans, which is up in the north. So if you guys are from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that sort of thing, we're launching there in just under 100 stores. So we'll be there next month, and looking for other large retailers that appreciate natural products to launch into. So Kushae is on the rise. We sell globally from our website. So whether you're in Canada, Europe, Australia, we ship to, you know, the Middle East, whatever, you can get to Kushae. So come holla at your girls, the queens of hygiene.
I'm going to pin this video on my group, Black Girl Trending. We have over 20,000 members, and it's global. So I mean, we have a little bit of everybody up in there. So that's why I want to make sure we know where. But you know, that .com can get you Amazon too.
Amazon.com, do your thing. But we're out here. So Dr. Barb, closing remarks, I'll leave them to you.
And we're even on eBay.
Well, you know what? We don't approve eBay sellers.
Who are reselling our products? I saw our soothing cream for $45 on eBay the other day.
So I'm going to remind you of the approved authorized sellers, Amazon, Kushae.com.
Yeah, so do not get it on eBay.
No.
Get it on www.kushae.com.
Right. I don't know what them fools are trying to do to y'all.
Yeah,
So please stick to the authorized
Yeah,
sellers.
yeah, because that may be Kushae, not Kushae.
Right.
You don't want Kushae in your life.
We don't want
Kushae might
Kushae.
not.
We don't want Boucher. We want Kushae. Okay.
Kushae, right? Because
Yeah, y'all.
Kushae.
Please, and don't call me if your bottle's green. All the packaging's white. Like, don't play with me, y'all. It should kind of look like this girl, with the big Kushae logo. Can you see it? There you
yes,
go.
that's the logo.
There
Yes.
you go. It looks
'Cause
like
listen,
a Kushae.
I've seen some fake Mac products out there when I used to work for Mac. I'm like, girl, that's not Mac. And they be like, I bought it from eBay. I'm telling you, that's not Mac. Mac don't have them pallets like that. I'm telling you.
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
So
we're not even gonna put that on the site. I'm gonna
Okay,
put
yeah,
the
no,
whole
no eBay.
Amazon. We'll
And
put
Kushae.com. Let's go with
yeah,
those.
yeah, definitely your website, because we need the people to take the test, because they can't take the test on Amazon. I want them to go to your website.
That's the thing. So even if you take the test, now mind you, we always have specials that Amazon doesn't have, and we have products that Amazon only carries a select number of our products, but we have bundles, kits, discounts, and all that on the website. So it's just easier. And again, we're here in West Palm Beach. So if y'all are local, you'll get it pretty quickly, probably within a day, because we ship every day. So you'll get it fast.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So Dr. Barb, you want to close us out, baby?
She's had 20. She's had 20 Kushaes in her face today. She's like,
literally. She's like, I'm good. So we're good.
I just want to end by saying that you've heard about our mission, you've heard about our insistence on quality, but really treat your Kushae, and that means the vulva area and inside, as the treasures that they are. Our vaginas take quite a beating throughout life, right? So we're having the babies, right? We're having a period every month. We're wearing pads. I mean, the vagina, gets beat up a little bit. So why wouldn't you take the best care of your most prized possession? And our products are differentiated from what you may see in the supermarket, Summer's Eve, and what's the other one, Kimba? Vagisil, that has all the bad chemicals in it. And you can look for yourself. I mean, we encourage people to actually look at our ingredients list. I mean, we're very transparent about that, and we're very proud of that. But the difference is you can't get our products at the dollar store. And you should not be getting products from the dollar store to put on your most prized possession. And so you may have to pay a little bit of a premium, but you're worth it, and your Kushae is worth it.
Amen.
Boom. Well, listen, it's just like putting money in the bank, right? The more you invest, the better, and all that other stuff, the interest.
Yeah.
Yes, all that good stuff. So love it, ladies. Thank you so much, so much. So I will definitely spread the word. And again, if you are watching the show, I know you may catch it later, please hit the share button. It is Black Business Month. We want to celebrate our queens for doing big things. And I can't wait till you're on I don't know if you've Ebony Magazine, Enterprise, Forbes.
Listen, we've been featured everywhere. Listen. Let me just drop some
Yes.
gems.
Oh yeah, drop it.
Cosmopolitan Magazine just named us the #1 gentle feminine wash. So that's Kushae, darling. We've been featured in Forbes, Fortune, Essence, Vogue, Zoe Report. What else? Refinery 29's coming up. Like, we got all the drops, all the gems. So we, this ain't no amateur act, baby. Okay, we've been recognized all over for the amazing work we've done as Black entrepreneurs, Black women entrepreneurs, and just being really disruptive.
Tell them. Listen,
y'all gotta ask somebody.
Listen, I tell people all the time, do not come over here and being shy and being humble. Listen, I like you to drop, whatever award you got, to let the people know.
All of the things. Yeah. So if y'all are impressed by any of those names, and Forbes is a huge one for us, I was like, I have arrived when we got in Forbes. We had arrived. I mean, it's a whole article on just us. It ain't no mentions. It's an article for us. So if you go to Forbes and Google Kushae, you'll find it. But we've been able to do amazing things, and particularly in this industry that nobody wants to talk about, we're making Kushae's a household name without the shame, right? And so we encourage everyone, if you don't have a name for her, you can name her Kushae. We invite you, and let's keep the conversation going, because the more you know, the better we can all do, right? So thank you, Kitty, for having us. We appreciate you.
The more she'll glow.
I was looking for a rhyme. I couldn't get it.
Girl, I got your back, girl. I got your back. Listen,
love
I'm
it.
an
Don't
MC.
use
I'm
that.
an MC too, so I got your back. But thank you
And
so much.
Kimba, tell her how you were able to raise over $1 million.
Oh, I saw the
And one of the
1.25
first Black females to do so.
To do so. Okay, so
Saw
y'all,
the
you know,
1.25 million.
let me go. Listen, y'all don't see my little shoulder pad.
I ain't want to call them. I ain't want to call the big 2.5 million number out, because listen, I know people will be like, listen, I need a GoFundMe.
Can you borrow $5?
Your cousins start coming out the woodwork.
Blame Dr. Barb. Blame Dr. Barb. I was
You
gonna
just
keep
put our
that
business on
down
the street,
low.
girl.
Go
You know I
ahead.
live in West Palm. No.
I know, right? She don't live. That's the problem. See, she go send me.
Okay, no, but that's not my
I'm
money.
in Houston.
That is the company's, no, but just excited to take on some investors that were really excited about what we were doing in this industry, being disruptors, changing the paradigm, recreating the narrative. And it ended up being over about just over $1.3 million that we raised last year. So that funding is helping us really accelerate the noise that we make around Kushae, and to educate women, and then to provide solutions for women every day, and not just for your periods, right? We're not just a period. It's not just about pads or tampons when it comes to feminine hygiene. It's about everyday solutions for every woman. Menstruation to menopause, we got you. So
I love it.
that's
So
Kushae.
basically, Kimber just schooled us that you don't have to go on Shark Tank to get that much money from people.
But you do want to be on TV. So anyway.
Yeah, you do, right?
So
not bad. But I'm just saying,
there are ways to do it. But again, like Dr. Barb mentioned, I was one of the first 100 Black women to ever have done that ever. So it's a really cool kids club to be a part of, but I'm sad because there should be more than 100 Black women who have been able to do that. And so we have the industry has a lot of work to do in supporting Black businesses. So in honor of Black Business Month, I hope you guys are encouraged to get out there and break the ceilings, because they won't let you, but you have to. That's it.
right. And I'm just like, I think, and definitely will, and after this, but I tell people all the time, being a salesperson is one thing, but people buy from who they like and who they trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was a great conversation to have, because it's one thing to get on a show, for 5 minutes and say, hey, we sell these products, but now people have gotten to see you as people and gotten to hear your laugh and see your personality. So it's like, how can't you support these ladies? Like, they're cool, right? I wanted to get that out, because it's very important that we connect with businesses. And not many places you can go and know the CEO of a company. Like you talk about the Vagisil's and the Summer's Eves. Like, who can you talk to those CEOs?
And are they women? No.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I did it. I talked to Kushae's co-founders. Yay, I got bragging rights. So I will definitely dig up some articles too, to share them, because again, I think that's important. I know some people don't research. I will do it. Share everything that you all have on, and just celebrate you all. And again, I'll pin this on my Black Girl Trending group. So this will be the first video. Up to 20,000 members will see, and hopefully this will give you some good sales. And I just ask everybody, if you're watching the video, listen, especially if you're a lady, come on. It does not hurt your fingers to hit the share button. I tell people all the time, it doesn't take anything from your pockets.
Right.
Doesn't prick your finger.
Free.
And it's free. And I tell someone, even if you don't use the product, I promise you, somebody on your timeline will do it. Mm-hmm. Right? But you still support it because you sent the information over. And if you know how much commercials are, people, I talk about it all the time. Commercials are not cheap. When we have these platforms that are free, this is the best way to get and help small businesses get the word out. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much, ladies. And you have a great night. And Dr. Barb, get some rest. I know it's hard out here in the field. I salute you, my sister, for what you do every day.
Every day. All these Kushaes every day.
Listen. But you're in the right business. Mm-hmm. Right business. Because guess what? One thing about that business, it never got a style. It's always, people
will always have sex.
They'll just have Kushaes, right? Period.
And have babies. Babies.
They got Kushaes, they coming.
Right. All right.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We appreciate you, darling. Talk to you
Have a
later.
good one.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.